Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the first episode one of the Coco Convo Corner. I am your host, Courtney. I also sometimes answer to Coco, and that is where the name of this podcast or project interpretation, whatever this releases in the world to be, came to be. So today, I have with me a very special guest. He is someone who is not unfamiliar to the podcasting sector, not unfamiliar to, reaching out within the community and talking with people and fostering relationships and communication. So I just like to give a big warm welcome to our guest, and I'll let him introduce himself and add whatever else he'd like to add as well.
Thank you so much for the kind words and introduction.
Mhm.
My name is Jonathan. Sometimes I go by the moniker Jonathan One Ton
Mm-hmm.
or John the Human. I'm just a dude, bro.
Just a
I'm
dude.
just a dude. I'm just a dude out here trying to figure the world out.
Aren't we all?
But yeah, man. How do I introduce myself? I am a digital content creator myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I have some skills, in video editing, some skills in photography. I be gaming.
You be
You know what I'm saying?
gaming.
It's just I'm just a black nerd, man. And this black nerd space has gotten so huge in the
uh,
past like decade or so, right?
right. And it's not like I'm trying to gatekeep, but I'm like, you wasn't with us shooting in the gym. That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
Right.
I'm like, you wasn't with that blurred life when
Yeah.
we was getting thrown into lockers and swirlies. Not that that ever happened to
hmm
me, but that's what happened to the people on
Oh
TV.
no.
And I'm just saying, you
Yeah, I
wasn't with
saw.
us collecting the Pokemon and the Yu-Gi-Oh! And you know what I mean? You just wasn't there. You wasn't there for that.
Yeah, that's fine. And I can't even hold you. Like I was one of those people that like actually liked it on the DL. But if like somebody else said they liked it like in school, I wouldn't make fun of them, but I'd be laughing at them. So like I'll never forget there was this one time we were at
Uh-huh.
Latonia High School and we were at the lunch table, just me and some of my friends. And we're nerds, but that was back then when it wasn't cool to be a nerd. Like, that was back when like snap music was a thing and like big shirts and pants and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this one kid, he was just like a straight up like known to be nerd. I think he was no more than like 5'1" or 5'2" or something.
Mm-hmm.
And someone mentioned anime like at the table, and he turns all the way around because he's at the table behind us, and he's like, "I like anime." And when I tell you that, like we roared with laughter, like laughing at him.
Mm-hmm.
And now I wonder, like thinking back on it, like what was going through all of our minds internally. Um, but
Yeah.
externally, we flamed that man and we scorched him, and pretty much like, you know what I'm saying. And I gotta admit, man, I have to confess that I was that dude that made fun of the other dudes that liked anime.
I'm shocked and surprised. I am appalled. I am
Uh,
clutching my
yeah,
invisible pearls and picking my jaw up off the floor because I just had no idea that you was him. You was that one. I had no
surprise,
idea.
man. Surprise, man. I gotta admit it, man. I gotta admit it. Deep down, I was like, dang, I like anime too. This guy's kind of cool. But you can't. You're being crushed by peer pressure from all sides. You can't fold. You
I
can't appear
mean,
weak.
uh, but then we have to go into what's your definition of weak because I think you'd be very strong had you stuck to things that you enjoy and believe
And I
in.
will say there has been such a paradigm shift.
Hmm.
And what I'm saying, like a change in mindset of how we view things that we actually truly like.
Yeah.
And like now in 2023, like it's cool to actually be yourself and like the things you like. But back then, man, it was just so difficult to really be authentically you. Like,
Hmm.
and maybe I don't know if that's like a generational thing or like that's every high schooler thing.
Feel like it's a human thing because even now,
Yeah.
even though I see people taking the liberties to express their freedom and express themselves, there's still
hmm
a huge crowd of dissenters or people who look down their noses or like, okay, you can express yourself, but not that loud or not that much, or
Right. Right.
express
Right.
yourself in private. You know what I mean? There's still those people
hmm
that exist. So yeah, we're not 100% there, but definitely better than where we came from. I'd say that.
Yeah. Yeah. And shameless plug, but I really attribute a lot of my like being authentically myself to my faith. And I will say that like ever since I've come to Christ, I've been in more of like a I don't care what people really think about me kind of space.
Hmm.
And I really like came to know Christ when I was in college, right? And I remember just having this like eye-opening experience and like looking around at like a lot of the other guys. And I would just kind of like compare myself to other guys and I'd be like, dang, I'm really not like these guys. And a lot of these guys are like a lot like each other. You know what I'm saying? Like in their appearance,
Also, oh, parents.
in their yeah, in their appearance and their vernacular, like the things that they say. And not that that's a bad thing, but I just kind of realized it. And I remember I was hosting a Bible study one day and I was talking to a couple of the guys that came afterwards and they were like shocked. They were like, bro, like you're just yourself. And I'll never forget this experience. I wish I could explain it better. But I was just telling them like the things I'm into and they were like, wow, like you're just so like open with the things that you actually enjoy. And I was telling them like I'm just a huge nerd, like I
Huh.
do XYZ, I like XYZ. They're like, wow, like we're just not used to people like expressing themselves like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it really it gassed me up. I ain't gonna hold you.
It
I
should,
was a
and
little
it
gassed.
should, especially if
Yeah.
you're coming from a cadence where you're either hiding it or slowly opening up to people or
Mhm.
maybe saying nothing at all. And then
Mhm.
it's what's the word that I'm looking for? Not infatuated. It's contagious. When people are being
Yeah.
themselves, it is contagious and it makes you want to be
Mhm.
your most authentic self as well. And shameless plug. As for me, I also was like one of those people that at least growing up, I say high school, even college, like trying to fit in or trying to see like, oh, what are my friends doing? Let me see how I can relate or, like, oh, this is what
Yes.
they're interested in. So I think this is what I should be interested in too. So it wasn't until like after college where I was like, no, I don't like this or no, I don't want to do this or did you know what I mean? I really found the
Yeah.
power in the sentence no. So
Yes.
that was really good
The
for me.
sentence no, I like that.
Sentence no. And also right now I'm adjusting, readapting, rediscovering my faith with God or the universal Lord, as you do not like me to call him or
Oh
her.
god.
So
Oh,
Gaia,
nah.
Mother Gaia.
Oh,
We have our
nah.
different beliefs, but it is beautiful to see like Bible thumper, younger me compared to like, life and stuff, and then now me and
Yes.
just feel excited about, you know what I mean, the changes, excited about relearning, excited about, how will this be applicable to me? How will I take this and make it my own? Or even
Definitely.
like I've had like tests in real time kind of. I've also been listening to these like betterment podcasts and like clear your mind and clear your space and meditate and like, positive thinking ABCDFG. So I was giving an example to one of my girlfriends. I was on the phone with her. I was like, right before she called, I was listening. I was on my way to the post office and I was listening to this guy, Aaron Doughty, and he was talking about letting go and how letting go is not hard and it's not difficult. And he was like, it can feel like it's sad, but it's really freeing and it allows you to focus more on yourself, focus more on centering yourself, the things that you need and want instead of giving, 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 and not having any other energy for yourself, right? So then
Yes.
after him came Tony Robbins, who I don't listen to often, but Tony Robbins had a guest, and the guest was talking about when you're in the car and someone ahead of you is like going very slowly or they're driving irrationally and you're
Mm,
screaming at them or you're upset at them and you're, that he's like, they can't hear you. They can't even feel that energy you're giving. They probably are not even looking at you or anything like that. And I kid you not, Jonathan, like 2 seconds after that, somebody did something really stupid in front of me in the car. And I was like, oh my gosh, he just talked about that. Oh my goodness, he just gave me this lesson. But also,
wow.
because you got me messed up and I'm still learning.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still
I'm
learning. That's
still
the
learning.
important part. That is the necessary and integral part that I'm still learning.
Mhm.
There's still a humanity behind improvement.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And to be honest, improvement is part of humanity. But I really do like that. I like the positive movement and the meditation vibes, man. I
Do.
think a lot of people need to jump on the
It's
wave.
been so helpful, and I know, like, it's not a new concept or idea to me, but sometimes
Mhm.
what I heard some saying the other day, and it was like, until you learn the lesson, it's going to continue to present itself. And I'm like, you
Yep.
know what? Until I'm consistent with this and serious about it, I'm going to keep having these trials and tribulations, and then eventually coming back to this point. And then I'm like recognizing, like, hey, this is familiar. Me coming back to this point, and I'm like, oh, I didn't come to a resolution the first 10 times I came to this point. So like even applying that with my journey with God or my spirituality, it's just been it's been very peaceful. I'm not 100% perfect and I won't say that I'm like okay, I learned that and now I'll apply it. I'm not doing that every single time, but more times than not I'm able to take my deep breaths. I'm able to kind of like not react so harshly, not react, immediately. And I'm just like, let me really think about this, or let me think about my response, or even the ways that I'm apologizing. I'm like catching myself like, oh, I'm sorry I interrupt you, or I apologize. I just realized that or even not getting as defensive, because I do have this mindset where I'm like right 99% of the time, because typically I work and I'm based in factual facts.
Mhm.
But I'm learning, like, if you're wrong, it's okay. You don't have to be offended because you're wrong. You can accept that you're wrong and, see what the right thing is and move forward from there.
Man, that's so good. That's maturity.
It's a lot of
That is
self-work,
real
and
true
self-work is like,
maturity.
it's not ever done.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's true.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's the
yeah.
and going back to like peace.
Mhm.
And I know this isn't like a faith-based podcast, but like for real, God really does give you a peace that surpasses all understanding. Like a peace that don't make sense. A peace where it's just like I shouldn't even be like joyful right now. Once I'm like my lights just got turned off, but I still walk into my dark house with a smile. Not my lights. I'm just saying like hypothetically.
I hear your example. I'm not there yet, but I understand. I can empathize with your example for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a real thing, man. And I'm smiling hearing you talk because I don't know. It's just beautiful to hear, man.
I'm glad that I'm able to vocalize it. I'm glad that I'm feeling this way, but there's also like this just renewed energy and aura for me, where I can kind of just, even like, and you guys won't be able to see us, but we see each other. But even in like seeing us, I can see more calmness on me, like exuding from me. It's kind of like, I won't say weird or creepy, but it's kind of magical to see. I can
Yeah.
see a calmness exuding from me, and I can also feel myself practicing to keep that calmness. You know what I mean? Because I see it and I recognize it,
Uh,
and I'm like, oh, I like this. So let me try to do my best to stay within this space.
you sound like a Super Saiyan. Like you can see your aura, like but like
Calm,
the opposite, like
calm.
like whisper.
My calm level's over 9,000.
Uh, hey, is this a safe space?
Please, I will. I will. Yes. Yes is the
Okay.
sentence. Yes, this is a safe space.
I love it. First of all, I like that no is a sentence kind of thing because it's like it's definite. Like it's a period at the end. I don't got to give no reason. No.
Sure.
Anyway, and yes, too, per. But so we were talking about being afraid to voice the things that you like, the things that you feel, and
Mhm.
then kind of like seeing other people like something or have a certain opinion about something, and then just kind of gravitating toward that opinion. I have a worry.
Okay.
Okay, and this has to do with social media,
Okay.
right? Because right, we know we all with the hot topic is like the algorithm and the algorithms doing this and
Uh-huh.
that. And so if you notice every platform, right, it has a comment section.
Yeah.
And every comment section has a top comment, like the number of likes that, you know what I'm saying, someone has given to this top comment. That's what you'll see. The
Yes.
first comment you see, right? That's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram,
Mhm.
YouTube. And so my concern is that the people that and the or no, I won't give any disclaimers. This is just my concern. But the people that are like young and influential and kind of like a clean slate in terms of like their opinions and their thoughts and stuff,
Mhm.
will kind of do the same thing. Like they'll look at what everyone else is saying or doing
Mhm.
and then just kind of like adopt it as their own. That's a concern that I have, and I say it's a concern that I have because it's something even that I find myself doing
Doing.
myself.
Mhm.
And I'm a mature adult. Like I have my own thoughts and
Allegedly.
opinions.
Okay.
Allegedly,
Joking, joking, joking.
no, I'm a child of heart for real. But I have my own thoughts and opinions. But like I'll find myself kind of looking for a what do you call it? It's like a bias something. But pretty much looking for like it's a confirmation bias. I find myself looking for a confirmation bias in the comment section and being like, oh, if that's a top comment, then yes, like I was right.
I was
Like,
right,
you know what I'm
right.
saying? Like, yeah, if all these people agree with me, then I must be right. Type stuff. When what if we're all wrong? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, like even now, more recently, like looking at that top comment, it's a lot of times like some crude joke or like some
Mhm.
ignorant, like stupid stuff, especially on Twitter. That's why I deleted my Twitter.
I don't
Can
mess
we?
with Twitter. I don't even mess with Twitter.
Don't.
I
It's
don't.
it's a
No, trust
dangerous
me. I don't.
place.
I have it for my other projects, but it's just to get the account name, but I'm not on there at all.
It's
Uh-uh.
like remember Lion King where Mufasa was like that's the everywhere beyond the
We
light.
don't go there.
Twitter's like where the hyenas are, where like the all the the decayed bones and
Yeah.
decrepit land that's just there.
Yeah.
It's Twitter, man. It's a crazy
I
place.
believe it. I mean, I've been there before, so I hear you on that.
Straight up,
Yeah,
man. But
also, I
yeah.
agree with your concern, and I do feel like this is a legitimate concern, and a lot of people aren't talking about it. And it's also like, what do you call it? Relation politics, where it's like, yeah, you have like the yes man, or you see something that you agree with.
Hmm.
You just do the top three pinned comments, you get what you get from it, and you move on, right?
Right.
Um, and I don't know if there's a way to fix that because, people are always going to pin the things that they like. Even the person that's posting the video who's choosing to pin the comment typically is not a dissenting opinion or an opposing opinion. It's something that's going to either
Agreed.
collaborate or corroborate with the original post or,
Hmm.
something of that nature. So I could see why that would be a concern, and I could see how people could become even sheep even more so, even though we're all
Yeah.
funneling into these apps and these devices. We're already sheeple
Hmm.
at this point, but yeah,
Yes, we
narrowing
are.
it down even more. I don't know if you also feel this way, if you've even noticed that with the GIFs or the GIFs. That's one thing I've talked about in one of my other like friend groups, my tin hat people groups. And we were talking about how the GIFs are, I mean, they're funny and everything, but it's taking away from the commentary and the voices of people. It's like instead of us
It
having a
is.
discussion, I'm just going to post this funny video or this funny clip, and you'll just have to interpret it how you want to interpret it. We're not going to have a real dialogue or go back and forth anymore. Here's just something to post and you can just like it.
Yes, and
So,
that's it.
yeah, and that's it. So it also
Hmm.
kind of is just weaning down communication. And
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what that means for the future people or, the upcoming generations because I already see and hear them and they have their own movements, their own language, their own
Yeah.
you can feel the changes. The changes are on my
Hmm.
back. We're on the precipice of
Yes.
change.
Just breathing
And
down your neck.
yes, beating down the block. It's doing that. And so I'm just like uh, what do you do, right? What do you do? Do you just like go along with it? Are we like about to be put out to pasture? Like we're the older young people now, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's a very
You know what
odd
I think you
time.
do? I think you get an idea, right? To create a podcast. You name it something cool,
Okay.
like Coco's Corner,
Huh.
Coco's Conversations, something
Or
like
like
that.
Holy Meets Hazard, something like that.
Or like Holy
Oh,
Meets Hazard,
something
two
like
peaches
that.
in a pod. No,
Who
something
knows?
like that. Yeah, yeah, who knows? I don't know. I would never do it, but but I think keeping conversation relevant is a part of the solution.
Yeah.
And I've seen even like in physical, like being around someone physically, um, it is not as easy to communicate because I think a lot of what we get like on our feeds is just very short. It's very like, oh, this is a video, it's
Yes.
like 15 seconds. And then we move on to the next thing. And so like long drawn out conversations aren't really, you know what I'm
Over it.
saying? Yeah, yeah, we're kind of like, oh, or we get bored really easy. Our attention span is a bit shorter.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I agree. And one thing I will say too is like, I think this started when we began to weaponize the like system. And Twitter called it ratioing. If you get ratioed, that means the comment that you posted was heavily disagreed upon by,
Mhm.
what I'm saying, like everyone that saw it,
Mhm.
right? And what does that do to a person psychologically? It tells you that your voice doesn't really
Doesn't
matter. Like
matter.
your opinion doesn't matter. In fact, your opinion is not preferred. And so I think more about like the younger generation that's growing up into this,
Mhm.
right? And people make the joke of, "Oh, you're being online bullied. Just log off." Like it's hilarious to.
It's
It's the joke is hilarious,
It
right?
is hilarious for it, but it's one of those things where it's like, y'all are laughing at this, right? And it's like, "No, we're laughing with you." And I'm like, "But I'm not laughing. I'm laughing at this." So, to give it
Yeah,
to your point,
exactly.
yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm missing the point here. I'm sorry, I think I just drew a blank.
It's okay. It happens.
The short attention span. See what I did there? For me,
I see what
it's
you did
been the
there.
opposite. For me, it's been I haven't looked at it that like that in a long time. I've
Hmm.
looked at it more so like people being unsatisfied with like 10 likes, 20 likes, 30 likes, 40 likes. But then if you had
Mm,
10, 20, 30, 40 people come up to you and say, "Oh my God, you look beautiful today," or "Oh my gosh, you're rocking that
wow.
dress," or "Oh my gosh, I saw you just graduated. Congratulations." If you had that many people coming up to you in person, you would be overwhelmed.
Hmm.
But you
You
get that
made
many
it.
people
Yeah.
saying it online and it's not enough. And
Mm,
so it's it's really disheartening. That's what I was gonna say about your comment now, I remember. What happened? I don't know. I'm really, really, really honestly confused on this train of thought where if it happens online, it doesn't matter in real life or it doesn't translate in real life, or oh, I can say and do whatever online, then I log off and everything is copacetic. And I'm like, this is still real life. The
It's
internet
still
is still
alive.
real life. If my
Mhm.
kid, family member, whatever, me, if I'm getting bullied online, who's to say that's not going to translate into getting bullied on, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I saw she was
Yeah.
joining you on Twitter last night. You didn't say nothing. You didn't have anything to say, but you know what I mean? It's so easy to think like, oh, you can just remove yourself. But when you don't have the access or the resources to remove yourself, or you're, oh, I don't know, underage and living in a home that you don't pay for, you don't have those
Right.
kind of options. So it's like you could be
Mhm.
bullied every single day, or maybe Saturday and Sunday online, and then Monday through Friday in person. So that kind of
Yes.
thinking is always ludicrous to me. You know what I mean? Because it's just
Luda
not
Luda.
reasonable or factual. And I like to deal in facts.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
cool. So okay.
I'm really glad that you brought that up because one of the main things I really wanted to get into today was online present size, online presence of celebrities and life and people who have these, lavish things, lavish lifestyles, basically lifestyles of the rich and the famous, and how they come to people who are not so rich and not so famous with their problems. And one of
Mm,
the specific references, and she is not the only one this has happened to, but it's just one of the most recent ones where I was like, it really connected with my head, and I was like, I really want to talk about this. And then I reached out to you and you were definitely gung ho. So
mhm,
I appreciate that. One of the most
right.
recent things was Kim Kardashian. And if you all don't know Kim Kardashian, she is an entrepreneur, a mother, an ex-wife, a businesswoman, cosmetics, clothes, all that good stuff. She's a capitalist. And she basically came online and she was describing, like, lately what her life has been on a podcast, and she was saying that she cries herself to sleep each night. And to sidebar that, she all and I want to get into this too, so I'm gonna say it right now. We can address it later. But she also added in, like one of her sisters did like a Mother's Day compilation for her, where all the kids were talking and like saying, "Mom, I love you," and all this other good stuff. And one of her kids says, "I love you so much. I apologize for always telling you that you're nothing to me." And
Oh,
so, yeah, that was one of the things I also wanted to get into. So those are the two things recently that have come online about it.
wait, you said one of Kim K's kids said that
Yeah,
to
he
her?
was like, "I know I'm always
Oh.
telling you that you're nothing to me, but I love you." And so I even made a comment on that post and it got a lot of likes because I said, "Let my child tell me tell me I'm nothing to them. Imma show you something."
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, let me tone it down though, because good vibes. So I just wanted to get into empathy, if this is like a human across the board thing. And I've also been having these um very interesting conversations because, like I said, I'm reintroducing myself in my relationship with God. So I'm just like,
Mhm.
the human part of me is like, you have money and fame and riches and resources beyond our wildest imaginations. And I've seen single mothers, make it through without an ounce of what you have. And then the godly part of me is also like, but she's human and she can have struggles
Human.
and she can have these feelings. Then the human part of me takes back over and is like, but don't tell it to me, tell it to your rich people friends. So so what are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that? Like, I know I just gave you a blast of information. What are you thinking right now?
No. So my thoughts, and it's so funny that we are people of the times, and the only thing I see in my head, and just this is just based off of the comments that people are saying. Like I was reading some of the comments
Mhm.
on that post, and they were like, "Oh, she's like rich, and you should if you're talking about divorce, but you're the one that divorced Kanye, or you talk about being a single mom, but you're the one that divorced him." And all I could see is like the Pikachu meme where he has his mouth open and he's like shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That one.
yeah.
And that's when people realize that celebrities are human.
Mhm.
It's like they look shocked, like, oh my God, you have problems, like you
Right,
have issues, like you
right.
have money. But and
But you have
hopefully,
money.
but you have money like that, like as if money solves everything. But there are some people that, you know what I'm saying, still have the understanding that money does solve everything, but
Right.
money cannot bring you happiness if, you know what I'm saying, your source of happiness is not money. If
Here's
does that make sense?
That does make sense. I feel like if I had limitless money, I could buy my happiness. So I don't necessarily agree with that part of it, but I
Yeah.
one thing I don't agree with is like what you said, one of those comments, because I saw those too, and I'm like, her divorcing herself and protecting herself in that way does not, you know what I mean? I was like, that has nothing to do with, but you have money, you have this, you have that. You chose to divorce him. She chose to do what was best, what she thought was best for herself as well as her children, her family. So I'm like, I don't feel like anybody could speak on that. That part was odd, but I'm also like, this is the internet and people say whatever they
It's the
want to
internet,
say.
man.
So I
It's
have
the
to
internet.
keep in mind that like not everything on here is going to be common sense, but yeah, I, I am fully aware that she's human. Celebrities in my head have always been like, no one has ever been like, oh, reach out and touch the hem of their garment. They're not like Jesus level in my head. You know what I mean? I'm
Right.
like, you're
Yeah.
human, and yeah, you're at an elevated status. Yeah, more people might see you, you might be making more money. At the end of the day, you are still human. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I feel empathy for her in the sense that, dang, you're feeling these emotions that we all feel, but I don't feel sympathy in the sense that you have all these resources to help you work through your emotions. You can literally hire somebody to stand beside you and every 10 minutes tell you how wonderful you are, how
Yeah.
amazing you are, how, motivating, how you're a good mom, how you're not nothing, how, you made the right decision. You have the resources to do that. So when I see other families um making the most out of their life when they have so little, then it does like not sit well with me when celebrities complain. I'm like, again, I either don't want to hear you complain or complain to your rich celebrity friends. That's how I feel.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think my stance on that is the thing about fortune. If you think of like any cartoon where like a cartoon character comes upon a fortune, like they see a treasure chest and then their eyes turn into the little dollar sign, or
Hmm.
like they just get happy. They're like, "Oh my god, I've been waiting for the Scrooge McDuck."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he just swims around in his money,
Right.
right? And I think for a celebrity, especially one that has been well off since they were a child,
Mm.
it's normal. This is a normal life for them.
Yeah.
So they don't have that elated feeling of like, oh, I've come upon money and now my problems are solved.
Mhm.
It's just money has always been there. So now I have other problems. You know what I'm saying? Like now I have problems thinking about if I'm too
Ooh,
superficial or
that's a
if
good
I'm,
point. You're making some
you know
real
what I'm
good
saying?
points. Oh.
Yeah, and I think like that's what I think about and why it's hard for me to even form an opinion about her situation is that I don't know her situation. I don't know her personally.
Hmm.
I don't know her backstory. You know what I'm saying? And even if you think about like this is the blurred coming out of me, but I don't know if you guys have ever watched Dragon Ball Super,
Okay.
but there's this villain, quote unquote. His name is Jiren.
Hmm? Oh
And
man.
like yeah, the ball man that looks like a thumb. And like ever since Jiren is presented in the show, he's just seen as like this evil guy. He's trying to destroy the universe,
Mhm.
yada yada yada. And then later on in the series, you see Jiren's backstory, and you see how he was raised. Like they show you his life from when he was a baby up until the point that you're introduced to him on the show.
Could you give
And
us
what it
a play
does,
by play for that? Like what that was, what that looked like?
yeah, yeah. So it showed us him as a baby, and it was like adorable.
Mhm.
And my memory's fuzzy, so I could
That's
be
fine.
paraphrasing
Yeah.
here, but I remember like when he was a kid, he grew up. And he lived under like a very strict like dictatorship type life.
Mhm.
And so the way he was raised, it was just very much he really didn't have any freedom or say so or anything. He just grew up. He came out the womb strong, essentially,
Mhm.
and he had no chance to be a kid. He had no like opportunity to, you know, what I'm saying, like enjoy the things that a kid should enjoy.
Mhm.
And so he, when he grew up, he's very tough. He's very strong. He's very, you know, what I'm saying, like he looks intimidating on the screen.
Mhm.
And so that's all we see from, before the backstory is this evil Jiren. Jiren is just a jerk. Like what the heck wrong with Jiren? And that's everyone's opinion, and you can't be mad at him because that's all they see. But my point is, and to bring it all back home, is like we don't really know Kim K's upbringing to
Mhm.
the extent that she knows her own. And so now when Kim K voices how she feels, she's voicing this with all the perspective and all the understanding that she had when she was a kid up until her adult life,
Mhm.
and all the experiences as well. And so I think it's difficult for us to form very solid or rigid opinions when we don't have that same perspective that she has. Um, and yeah, I look at people on the internet that are just so very confident and so very much like, man, like she shouldn't do this or she should do that. And I kind of envy it. I'm like, I wish I could be that like confident about something I know nothing about. You know what I'm saying? Like I wish I could boast in straight up ignorance and be like confident in it.
I'm not sure if I would fully agree that it's straight up ignorance. And I guess this would just be specific to Kim Kardashian, Kimberly
Mhm.
Kardashian in this sense. But it's like we have seen her, I will say most of her life, but for at least like 15 years of her life, like online, we've seen her through reality TV, we've seen her through, public interactions. And that does not mean we know her, not at all. But I
Right.
feel
Right.
like it's not like I feel like I know Kim Kardashian better than I know Keanu Reeves, right? Somebody who comes into the
Right.
spotlight, does his work, and then catches the S train back home. Like, you know what I mean? And that's because
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves decided to keep it private. So there's also this it's like a double-edged sword, and you choose to share, your private life publicly. And it's like you do
Yeah.
open yourself up to scrutiny. You open yourself up to being bashed. You open yourself up to commentary, and I feel like that's just part of being, rich and famous. And it sucks, but that's part of it. You know what I mean? You get paid the big bucks
Yeah.
to, get all these doors open to meet all these people, and it's not going to come without scrutiny. So I feel
Mhm.
like I am sure about my opinion in the fact that I don't want to hear Kim K's, problems. Someone who's if not already a billionaire on her way to being a billionaire, and you don't become a
Right.
billionaire by being a great person all your life. Like, you know what I mean? That's not how that happens.
Yeah. And you know what my thought process, because I thought about that too, and the way it formed in my brain, I was like, well, if keeping up with the Kardashians shows us Kim K's life, why are we so surprised that she feels this way? Like, why are so many people like, wow, like she's complaining, like she has no right to complain? And it made me wonder, like, well, what is her life like when the cameras are not on her? Is it the same? Is it like, does she cry? There's, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
What is her preparation look like before they turn the cameras on? Is
Right.
she wiping away tears? Is she like, hold on, I'm not ready for camera yet. Let me get myself together, like type stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just a wonder. It was just a thought. But and I think back to even like my life. Um, and I am a very like professed Christian. I'm a saved man. I love Jesus. I love the Lord. And there are some people that I feel safe around, and sometimes I tell them like the things that I do or the things that I've done, and a lot of times their reaction is just like, like, oh my god, I can't believe it. Even if we go back to like one of the Holy Meets Hazards episodes, um, you know what I'm saying? I'll just let you guys go back and listen to it. But I shared with Cole, so one of the things I used to do, and like even her reaction was just like, "Oh my god, like I can't believe it." Um, and I think it is there are some similarities
Mhm.
because a lot of times we forget too that like people that are saved or people that are professed Christians and people that profess to live righteous lives are human as well.
Mhm.
And so I get that reaction from like a lot of people, like, "Oh, you a minister," or like, "Oh, you supposed to be saved." But I'm like, well, I'm also human. Like, I also have emotions and feelings, and
Mhm.
also I also get upset when people do stupid stuff
Right.
on the road. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just held to a higher standard, and I think Kim K, which is a part of the scrutiny, I feel like is because she's held to a higher standard of you're not supposed to be struggling. Like, the struggle's for us. Like, and we're kind
Right.
of, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? We're gatekeeping the struggle.
I hear you. I do hear you. Again, I'm on the fence with this one because I do hear what you're
Mhm.
saying about gatekeeping the struggle. And I do also hear the other side of that where it's like you're so bored as a celebrity. You have all this money, you have all this access, and now what's the next best thing for you to do? To act like you're relatable, to act like you understand as to,
Mm.
bring it down
Wow.
because you
Yeah.
don't have anything else to do. And they did a good example of that was I don't know if you remember, there was a show with Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie. It was like the Simple Life. And if you all know, Paris Hilton comes from like the Hilton Hotels family, billions,
Yep.
millions. Nicole Richie was adopted by Lionel Richie. She and her sister Sophia Richie, I believe they were adopted. And so they also, grew up in royalty, richness, celebrityism. But the premise of that show was, let's go get 9 to 5 jobs because we're so bored. So they would be on farms, they would be milking cows,
Wow.
they would be like out like running retail shops. And it's like, wow, can you imagine? You have so much power and access and money that you say, let me go see what the regular human folk are doing and let me participate. Like
That's
we're an
yeah, that's messed
experiment.
up.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
so when people
Yeah.
are like, no, Kim K is just trying to seem relatable to us, I'm like, yeah, I feel that because I've seen that. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Mhm.
what else is there for you to do? You're bored. So now you're going to complain to people who would love to be in your position, would love to have 1% of, what you have in regards to money and
Right.
access and power. And, there are some people who I guarantee you would be like, I might be crying with Kim K, but I'll be using those bills to dab my tears. You know what I
To
mean?
dye my tears.
So
Yeah.
it's just, I don't want to sound heartless, and I don't want to
Mhm.
sound like I just don't feel like we're the audience for that information.
Wow. Yeah, and that's a good point. This is actually a perspective that I didn't even consider. But I actually do remember hearing, I think Jean was telling me about the Paris Hilton thing.
Mhm.
And she said they also like there were some K-pop stars that like did something similar. Like they went and got a 9 to 5. And I had the same thought. I was like, dang, like we really like are just like a project.
It's like
Like
they beat the game and now it's like they wanna do the DLC or they wanna do the side quest, and the side
right.
quests are us.
Yeah.
It's like, "Let me
Right. We're
geek
the
out,
side quest.
let me get out of my, house on the hills. Let me drive down,
Right.
switch from my Bentley to the Honda that I used to drive back and forth to the mailbox, and let me go onto the main street and see what the people are doing." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Let me exit my 10
And I
gates.
think it hurts the most because like during that sort of I guess like simulation,
Mhm.
you can just end that simulation whenever you want. You're like, oh, this sucks.
Yes, that's a good
This
point,
sucks.
Jonathan.
You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? And we can't. We just kind of have to are
That's
stuck.
our
We have
real
to.
life. It's like
Yeah, we got to dig our way out.
she's cosplaying as she's
Halfway.
cosplaying as a regular human, and it's weird,
Oh
bro.
wow. Mm. That's a good perspective.
She's
I
cosplaying
like
as a
it.
regular human, and it's weird, bro. So yeah.
And all in all, man, I don't know what's going on with Kanye or Kim.
Mhm.
I just pray that you know what I'm saying they get it right. They get it together.
You know what?
Cause
Cause what? Before I continue.
yeah, cause like I think about divorce. And I don't know what divorce is like as a celebrity. I don't even know what marriage is like as a celebrity. But I've personally had 2 failed engagements. Like I've straight up proposed. Yeah, I'll say it. I've had 2 failed engagements. And I felt different during like at the end of both of them. The first one was more painful than the second, I guess. And I
Mm,
don't know if that's because experience, but either way, like it does warp your mind a little bit. It does cause you to look at people differently.
yeah.
And so regardless of if it's cap or if it's like whatever it is, like it's a divorce, and I hope that their minds get back to the right place.
Yeah. I was gonna say, you know what? I don't care about these people. Like, I'm not praying for them. I'm not wishing them goodwill or ill will or anything like that. I'm just
Yeah.
like, I want to talk about you because, you sparked this conversation or this, main topic I want to get to, but I don't care about you. like if I don't know you or have a personal relationship with you, or I'm not getting to know you or ABCDFG, like I really don't care. I'll listen to the
Yeah.
entertainment news and stuff, but even today, Jonathan, I was looking at of course cuz I was off Instagram for like a week and then I got back on recently. But I was looking at comments of people talking about, "Oh, your kid is so cute," or "Oh, you're killing that dress," da 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 da, and I'm like, do you give the people that are real in your life the same amount of
The
attention and
same.
affection
Yeah.
and communication and the vigor when you're going back and forth? Like you'll do all this stuff for a stranger, somebody you can't even reach out to, but the person
Hmm.
that you would call if you're in trouble, like, are you checking on them? Are you having open communication with them? Like, are you communicating that you love their dress that they're wearing? Are you communicating, oh, your kid looks so cute? You know what I mean? We're so
Yeah.
quick to do all this stuff for strangers. And we've been programmed to do that way, right? We've been programmed to think celebrities are unreachable, unattainable, magical people, and we're lucky to be in their presence. And it's like I feel like we take for granted the people that we can touch, the people that we can reach, the
Mhm.
people that we do interact with on the day to day. And I'm just like, so sometimes I will read the comments and I'm just like, sheeple.
People,
And then
yeah, I
sometimes
never.
I'll leave a comment and I'm like, damn, I'm a sheeple now. But
I'm
I'm not
people
I'm
now.
not typically leaving a comment. But on that one where that child was like, sorry, I tell you you're nothing to me, I was like, oh, I gotta say something.
Yeah, that's insane, bro.
You
But
imagine?
yeah, even earlier in the conversation, I think we were talking about just being starstruck.
Yeah.
Never really understood the concept of like being starstruck, or at least until like, so I'm big in like the fighting game community and like competitive
Mhm,
esports.
mhm.
And so there are some people that are like really good at video games,
Okay.
and I find myself fawning over them more than like celebrities, which is interesting to me. But I think it's because I see something in them that like I see in myself as well.
Mhm, right, you're
I don't
their
know. It's
audience. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm their audience. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and they are at a place where I desire to be at.
Mhm.
But I don't think any celebrity is at a place I desire to be at. I was actually just telling my friend like I don't want to go viral. Like I don't want to be famous. I don't
I
want
think
to
you've
like
said that
blow up on the
before.
internet.
I think you've said that
Yeah,
before.
yeah, man. Because you become like,
You become
well, I won't.
owned. A lot of pressure, a lot of demand, a
Yeah.
lot of, you're trying to live up to something where there's a schedule or putting content out or creating new ideas. It's like a lot of people put themselves on this clock to produce, produce, produce because you can't just stop, right?
Hmm.
Because then you'll be forgotten and the next viral person will be, at the forefront. So it's
Yes.
like, yeah, once you get thrown into that, it does seem like you have to do everything or it's, oh, you fell off or you're not as funny or
Yep.
you're losing
Yeah, you
followers. So
become
you're losing
irrelevant.
endorsement deals. So yeah, I can see the reasons not
And
to.
I'm glad you said it because I wasn't gonna go into it, but
I did.
you literally took the words out of my mouth. But I look at even like RDC, like RDC will put a post up on
Love
Twitter about something
them.
completely random, and then some guy in the comments would be like,
Where
"Well,
the
when is
movie
the
at?
Anime House
Where the
7 coming
movie
out?
at?
Like, where the
What
movie?"
y'all doing?
Right. And so there's this feeling of entitlement that people get to have over you, and I'm just not with that. Like, I'm not trying to be owned. I ain't signed a record label. You know what I'm saying? I'm just John. And I think about like what I truly do desire. And we talked about this recently, but it's still a desire that I have. I desire to have a family and
Mhm,
kids. And some part of me believes that like I'm saving a lot of myself and like a lot of my energy and time and like mental fortitude for that moment of my life. And not to say I can't take my family into like content creation if I truly wanted to,
mhm,
but it's just something I think of like even when I was engaged, like I created a lot of space for my significant other, like a
mhm.
lot of time like I gave to them. And so I wonder, and I worry like, dang, what if I do like blow up, but then like I have a family and one is neglected. You know what I'm saying? It's just a thought. I'm not like trying
Any.
to be psychoanalyzed or you know what I'm saying? It's just
Yeah.
a thought. I'm like, dang, what if I hold priority over one and not the other type stuff. So part of the reason.
Dude, I hear you on that, and I feel you on that, and I feel like a lot of our issues as humans can be alleviated or lessened if we just worked on our time management. If we just worked on our planning, if we worked on our scheduling, if we just said, you know what, this might take me a day or two to get down packed on the front end, but on the back end, everything will run smoother, everything will be seamless, everything will, fit into place like it's supposed to. One thing
Hmm.
I've been recommending and suggesting for everyone to do, which is just, if your schedule will allow it, on Fridays, anything I have planned for Saturday and Sunday, I do it Friday morning and Friday night. And then that way I have my
Hmm.
Saturday and Sunday to do whatever else I need to do or want to do, whether that's, being inside or cleaning up or going outside or not talking to people for 48 hours, then that's my choice. But it's like, it wasn't easy. It's like I have to sacrifice, right? Air quotes, my
Sacrifice.
Friday mornings and my Friday evenings. I have to block those out. You know what I mean? So if I really want the weekend to myself and someone's like, "Oh, you want to go out?" I have to be like, "Yeah, well, no. Yeah, well, no. Yeah, well, no." You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But it's like in the
Yeah.
long run, I feel better. I'm not obligated or tied to a specific schedule or, cadence, that's someone else's. And so
Hmm.
that's just one example of how changing and rearranging my schedule has been like for the better for my mental, for my physical space, for my extra projects and activities like even this project. This I like to think of myself as a Jill of all trades. Like I know a lot about a lot of things. I'm not gonna say a little. I know a lot about a lot of things, but I'm not a master
Yeah.
of one huge thing. And specifically when it comes to projects, I have so many ideas always running around my head, and it's just like the
Mhm.
execution part. But one thing I did say either a week or two ago, I was like, you know what? I want to get this off the ground. I want to do something with this. And I don't know if that's just vocalizing it. I don't know if it's actually getting here where it's like a recording day, woohoo, or what it is. But I know it had I not rearranged that Friday schedule to knock stuff out and said, this is mandatory, Courtney. This is not an option, Courtney. This is a requirement, Courtney. Then I don't think we'd be here recording this today.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And yeah, the position that I'm in, um, I like I like being flexible and I like spontaneity.
You don't say.
Um,
Is
I love
spontaneity or
spontaneity.
spontaneity?
I feel like I've heard nudity more, but it could
Okay.
be nitty. I don't know.
Because I'm like, I can't
I
remember.
like that.
Okay.
I like that. I like whatever that is.
Mhm.
I enjoy it just because like I'm something like I guess you I don't know if you've ever seen that meme where it's like whenever you get up and walk out of a room, how your dog is just like, you son of a gun.
Right.
I'm down. Let's do it. Like, I love being down, and it's for me. It's like it's not about what I'm doing; it's about who I'm doing it with.
Mhm.
So if it's like a friend that wants to like go to a freaking K-pop concert, like I don't like K-pop, but I like my friend, so I'm just like, yeah, let's do it. And yeah, I do need to be more structured. I do need to be more organized personally. But I'm not. And but at like at the same time, I just love being able to be like, oh yeah, I could do that. Like, yeah, let's do it.
Right.
Let's do it right now. Can we do it right now? Oh, we can't. All right, cool. We do it next time.
See, and I know you are free flowing and free spirited in that way. You I'm better now, thanks to, like I said, the meditation and the praying and everything that's been going on.
Yeah.
But it used to bother me because I'm someone who's like, yeah, I would love to do that, but I need advance notice, or I need, because I've already
Yeah.
planned stuff out. So when you're like, oh, you guys want to get together to do this? I'm like kickball. I'm like, yeah, sure. When? In like an hour? Oh, why didn't you let me know 3 days ago? Like, because
Yeah.
and I get really hyped and internally emotional because I'm like, I don't want to miss out on this experience with you.
Hmm.
And but also, it's like it's very likely that another opportunity will come around. But in my head, I'm just like, but I don't want to miss this one. I'm always missing them because it's not
Yeah.
planned. So yeah, I
I wonder if it's my college friends that like did that to me because I we used to live like in the same apartment, like we would live together.
huh?
And then a lot of times it would just be like, "Oh, you want to go to this? Yeah, let's go do it like right now."
Oh,
And
nice.
that was like me for several years.
Yeah.
Or we would live like in the same complex, like down the street from each other. And I still have those college friends, and a lot of it is still like, "Oh yeah, we gaming tonight. Come through." It's like, "All right, bet, be there," and what I'm saying, like an hour type stuff. So I don't know. Maybe that's why I
Chaos.
like it. Maybe it's like a learned
Chaos.
behavior.
Chaos.
Chaos, organized chaos,
Organized chaos.
but chaos nonetheless.
Chaos nonetheless. Yeah, man. It has quelled down with me some, thankfully, and I'm not as ruffled, but it's like
Hmm.
I don't want to miss out, but also it's been very helpful, like I said, that letting go method where it's just like if you were supposed to be there, you would have been there. If you were going to get an invitation and go, you would go. So it's like if you
Good.
miss this chance, then that's okay. Like life is not stopping. It is okay. So just having to tell myself it is okay.
So you're saying you don't want to play kickball on Saturday?
You didn't tell me anything. I'm kidding.
I did literally just put it out
No, I
today, but
did
it's
say you
Wednesday. That's 4 days,
you
right?
did put a notice out there. It depends if like I said, if I can get my Friday morning and Friday evening in alignment, what my weekend looks like. But no, I thought that was really good. I was like, did somebody hack Jonathan's account? He never gives as much notice. And I was like, maybe he doesn't really mean it. We'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to be. I think about you and your administrative gifts, and I'm like, if she got it, maybe it runs in the family. Maybe I can try it.
I feel like you would get so much more. I feel like for you specifically, because I know you also juggle a lot of different tasks and projects and ideas, and you like, I won't say you're a big brain like me, but I know that you have your hand on a lot of pots, and I just feel like a little. And again, this is just me. You know your life better than me, but I've seen what a little bit more organization has done for me. And I'm like, for Jonathan, this would just skyrocket. Like I could see him with like 10 windows up on like 12 different computers. Like it's going crazy. Like he the hacker on an
Yeah.
IT movie.
Yeah. You know, I agree. I think I can get to that point too. Question.
Yeah.
Is that George Baker the third's
Yes, it is. You
third?
guys won't be able to
Uh,
hear this or see this episode
or
because this first was
actually,
just going to be audio, but maybe the next episode. But yeah, I am wearing a pullover shirt from George F. Baker III. He is an
yeah,
artist who resides in Atlanta, but he does artwork all over the world now. And it
so
says,
cool.
"Do your best to uplift others."
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, shout out to George. Thanks for
Shout out to
noticing that.
George, man.
Isn't his art
Yeah,
so like noticeable? Like, dude,
yeah, it's
I'll
recognizable.
I'll even be driving around Atlanta and I'm like, that's George's art. Like
That's
it's
George.
I'm like, I
That's
know
really
George.
neat.
That's George's art.
Yeah, I remember being in children's church with
Mhm.
George. And you know what's so cool? Do you
What?
remember we can
Yeah,
dig
the
this out
singer.
too. Yep, her little sister's getting married, right? You know that?
I think you know when you see posts of like from people you might know or something, I think I might
Hmm.
have seen her like that.
Yep. So her little sister is getting married to this guy that I'm sure you've met before too. Me and him went to elementary school together. His name is
Not ringing a bell,
um
but maybe the face.
yeah, you'd probably recognize him. But they're actually getting married and I'm going to be the one marrying them. Isn't that
What?
cool?
Oh my goodness, life be
It's
so
such a
full
small world.
circle. Like, yo, Atlanta
Right.
is I tell people all the time, Atlanta is like playing. Do you know what 6 degrees with Kevin Bacon is?
No.
Degrees with Kevin Bacon is that you start off with either like one person and Kevin you start off with one person on one end and then Kevin Bacon on the other end and you got 6 tries to get to Kevin Bacon. So it might be like
What?
Jonathan was in a Netflix movie with Courtney. Courtney did a Sprite commercial with Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan did a
Oh,
Nike commercial with Serena Williams. Serena Williams, and basically you're trying to get to Kevin Bacon in
the
6 or
Kevin
under.
Bacon.
But I tell people Atlanta is like playing 6 degrees with Kevin Bacon, but it's only like 2 degrees. Like it's two people, and you like, oh, I know this person, or yeah, I know this person, or da 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 da. And it's just like
Wow.
it's such a small. Atlanta is its own little country, but it's a small country at that.
It's so small, man.
Yeah,
But it's so neat how these things come full circle.
yeah. It's
It
very
really is.
wholesome. It's the good feels. Yeah,
Yeah, it's really good because these are two people that are just completely like different parts of my life
yeah,
that end up meeting each other and marrying each other. Like it's so cool.
yeah.
It's so cool.
Thank you so very much for coming on this episode. I did realize I didn't really intro myself, so I'm gonna do that now.
Did
I don't think so. I mean,
I thought you did.
I kind of intro myself, but not really. So I just kind of want to
Oh, okay.
redo that, and I feel like I could do that because it's my podcast or
You can do
project.
whatever you want.
You know,
It's your
right? Live
corner.
my life, right? So I'm
Right.
gonna re-intro myself in the outro, and I'm gonna show you how it
Hey.
go from Coco, cause
Oh,
my
oh,
flow don't go slow. Oh,
oh,
oh. So
oh.
as something
It
I
go fast like the peach pass. And now I gotta pass you the microphone because you about to get going on this introduction. Or
oh,
should I say outroduction?
oh, you shouldn't say that. Oh. I just want to let you all know my name is Courtney. I go by Coco. I know we went over that. I've been a part of different podcasts before. I'm a dog mom. When people ask like, "What do you do?" I always change the question. I'm like, well, this is what I enjoy. So I answer it that way. Because you've said, well, what do you do? And then you just list all these things you do for work. But it's like if you ask someone, what do you enjoy? Then I feel like you get to know them more. So I
Mm,
enjoy communicating with people that I care about. I enjoy hanging out with my dog who's just overly vocal. I enjoy organizing. I enjoy like having all these ideas and projects and eventually making one come into fruition. Thank you, Jonathan. Um, I enjoy, I also have another podcast with my co-host Cami. It's called the Two Peaches with the Pod podcast, and it'll be coming back very, very soon. And I enjoy helping other people like realize their dreams. I've never wanted to get into a space of like life coaching or let me write up your business plan. But when people ask me
mm,
questions, like I don't gatekeep. Like, oh, how do you get your taxes done? This is who I go to. This is what I use. Oh, how did you start recording? This is what I bought. This is what I use. This is what I looked up. Da 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 da. And I mean, if I don't really know people, I'll be like, you can Google it. But if I know you, like I I most likely care about you and love you and want you to succeed. And if I can help you do that, I'm going to do that. So that's my intro outro.
Man, that's awesome. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
And one question I was going to ask
Sure.
toward the beginning of this is, what sparked this idea for this podcast? Anything in particular?
Yes, actually. I did a spoken word piece, and I've always been a writer. I used to write poems when I was younger. I used to write songs. I have like 100 copywritten songs that nobody knows about. Yeah, I had poetry books. One of my poetry books actually got lost. It was actually a Little Mermaid poetry book, and I think someone
Oh.
stole it. But I had songs written there, and I've been waiting for the day for like some artist to pop off so I can be like, she stole my mermaid book. But some of the stuff I can't even remember now. But there was this one poem called Cherry Blossoms that was fire. And it was mainly about the fish trees that we had in Atlanta because I didn't realize those weren't cherry blossoms. I just thought, oh, they're white flowers. These must be the cherry blossoms. And I was really big on Sakura card captor. And I was like, oh, we got cherry blossoms in Atlanta. We don't. We don't.
They're willows, man. The thing
We don't. We
stink.
don't. But yeah, I was like, I have I've done the podcast before with the prior co-host. I had a podcast with, or have, that's on long hiatus, a podcast with Jonathan. It's the Holy Meets
Mhm.
Hazard podcast. It's a little more holy and hazard, chaotic and calm over there. If you guys want to go listen to that, I have the Two Peaches with the Pod podcast with my co-host Cami. And one day I was just sitting here and I was going through a really emotional moment, and that was actually the first day where I was like, I need to introduce God back into my life. Like I've been having these feelings, I've been seeing these signs, I've been ignoring them for a long time. And it's one thing to just kind of like passively ignore something. It's another thing to consciously ignore something. And I've heard
Mm.
God for a while trying to talk to me, and I'm like, let me pretend I don't hear him.
Wow,
And
yeah.
so that day I was just really, really emotional, and I recorded a spoken word piece, and then I sent it to my younger brothers, Jarrell and Jonathan, and it just felt like such a great release and such a good restarting place. And then I was like, you know what, I want a space for it to be just me. If I want it to be just me, if it's, me just checking in, or me just, saying something organically, I didn't want it to be a space of here go the desired topic list or the day, or let me hit all these check marks and
Oh,
KPIs and mile markers. Let me just
right.
come to you, naturally, like take me as I am or have nothing at
Oh,
all. So that's where this idea came from.
man, that's birthed from a beautiful place.
Thank you.
Just like that ability to like express. And this is part of the reason why I enjoy journaling.
Mhm.
Because expression, like if something is in your mind, it has the ability to torment you. But I believe that when you release it, like when you speak it out, it's no longer just trapped in there, but
Mhm.
you've expressed it and you've released it. Or we talked about like letting go
Yeah,
in the podcast, like you verbally let it go. So that's really cool. You get a space to verbally let things go
right.
and to talk about the things that,
Matter to me, or even if it's not even something like super serious, because again, I don't expect this to be like a TED talk, you know what I mean, converted to anything like
right.
that, but just
Mhm.
if it's on my mind, I want to get it out. And I'm glad you even mentioned journaling, because it's one thing to, have a thought. It's another level to verbalize it. It's another level
Mhm.
to write it down. It's another level
Right.
to manifest it through action. So it's just like
Mhm.
taking all those taking one of those steps is massive. So to all you
Yes.
out there who are verbalizing and writing or maybe creating out of it, like I applaud you, because it's not easy. Again, as someone who always has several thoughts running around my head, it's not easy
Mhm.
to eventually get to production. So kudos to y'all.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, look, it's an honor to be here. It's been a pleasure.
I'm so
Hope.
glad. You guys, this was not
Yeah.
planned for Jonathan to be the first guest. And you don't understand like how comfortable and easy this conversation was, and just how like un um I don't know, what's the word?
Unobliged.
Like not unobliged, just the opposite of chaotic.
Is it peaceful?
It's peaceful.
Peaceful in
It
it.
it was very, that's not the word I'm looking for either, but I appreciate,
Mm.
you being a guest when that wasn't it was natural and or it was unplanned. That's what I'm looking for. It was organic and unplanned. So I'm glad that this
Nice.
was the result.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait till we get the soundboard going and you
Yeah. I
can you
mean,
can add the applause, the
yeah, I
volume
saw
boom.
the like I don't want to do too much craziness like with that. Like I don't want it to be like too many like hijinks, funny things, but if it's
Mhm.
applicable and makes sense, cool, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys can catch me again. This is fairly new, so you can write at the Coco Convo Corner at gmail.com if you have any questions or topics or anything or advice or anything you want me to go over. We can do that. And also on Instagram, I did get the Coco Convo Corner. It's not active just yet, but this is going to be for me like a slow burn to like consistency. You know what I mean? Not putting too much pressure
Mhm.
on myself, but I'm like, I have an idea of where I want the framework to be. So if you guys could just be patient and grow with me, that would be wonderful. Okay. Thanks for
Awesome. Awesome.
coming.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Y'all next time.
See ya.
Bye, Craig.
See, let's stop recording.